boom, boom, boom. All right, everyone. Welcome back to Nerd Camp Sports. I am Mike Williams. I got Raja Anthony Ali. RB will be joining us shortly. How you feeling today, brother?
Man, feeling great, feeling really good. Excited about this NBA playoffs, excited about the draft lottery. There's a lot to be excited about right now, man.
Well, I mean, since the lottery's coming and they're about to announce it, who do you think is going to get the number one pick overall?
All right, audience, listen. Roll with me, but just hear me out, all right? You got the Washington Wizards, you got the Pelicans, you got the Utah Jazz, and which one did I miss as well?
So the Wizards, the Jazz.
The Wizards, Jazz, Pelicans, and I think I missed. Oh, the Hornets, right? So those are
Hornets.
the four. Those are the top four picks. Honestly, I think he's going to get drafted to the Washington Wizards because his name is Cooper Flag. I think the American flag theme is going to be really big in the NBA next season because the game is going international, and he's actually one of the first American players in my recent history that I remember that is that's coming from the American system, versus being like somebody like Giannis or Jokic and stuff like that. He's probably one of the biggest Americans prospects out there right now.
Okay, yep. I can agree. I can see that perspective. I'm for me, it's not even so much about who gets it. It's about the team with the worst record should get the first pick. Like. Let's make it simple. Let's make
Mm-hmm.
it simple. It should go by your record. This
Right.
whole lottery system is just a ploy to get people to watch something else and just to have people talk shit about because that's what it is. Like we're sitting up here talking about this. We know these are the worst teams.
Right.
So now, like when you look at it, right? So I'm just gonna open up the actual standings from this season. Moment, no playoffs. And so just so I have some clarity before I say what I'm gonna say. NBA standings. No, not 2023. So you look at the standings for this season. The worst record was the Utah Jazz,
Right.
17-65, followed by Washington at 18-64, followed by Charlotte at 19-63.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like we should be having this Utah, right? Yeah, Utah should have one. Washington should be two. Charlotte should be three. It's really
Yeah.
simple. I just don't get why this has to happen. But for me, I'm just, I mean, it don't really matter. I'm just going out on a limb. I'm just gonna rock with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I hear you. And you know what? And I agree with what you're saying because they do it in the NFL. They do it in other type of leagues. But I believe the reason why the NBA takes this approach is because they're not trying to reward tanking. And we know it's very easy to tank in the NBA. It's very
very.
easy to tank in the NBA. The NFL is different because the NFL is like a very physical sport. You can't really fake football. You can't like fake that you're playing. You got to really play, and it's got to be like really in. You got to be really invested in it because you can't fake hits. But the NBA, you can kind of take the night off. You can tell your starters, hey, we're going to bench you guys. We're going to put in the reserves and see what happens and go up against a team that you can beat, but you're not beating it type thing.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I mean, I think it would be great if Cooper Flag goes to a team and becomes a big franchise. Like, like I said, there's teams out there that's looking for a star player. Look at what Wembanyama did in like 2 seasons, with the Spurs. He brought the Spurs back. Now Chris Paul's playing out there. You got people like De'Aaron Fox want to play. There's other potential stars coming. You know what I'm saying? Like Giannis said he wants to take a look at the Spurs. I'm not saying he's joining, but he's got him on his list. And I think it's great. They need to find a player that can bring that excitement back to those franchises like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Here we go in real time, audience.
So they're going to start with the top 14.
And then we'll talk about it after. We
We
gotta get this on the screen though. I gotta figure that app out so we can watch it on the screen at the same time,
Yeah, exactly. All right, but it's all good. A watch along is cool because I don't want to get hit with copyright infringement anyway.
That's true.
All right, so here we go. 14.
Presented by State Farm will be made by the San Antonio Spurs.
Ah, yes. Okay, Spurs is out the way.
Yeah, you don't want them too high.
Yeah.
Goes to the Atlanta Hawks. As expected.
I'll take it. Atlanta Hawks, get them out the way. Come on, they're moving pretty swift. Let's keep going.
They'll probably stop at the 4.
No, I think they're gonna stop at the 10. Chicago Bulls. There you go. There goes the Bulls.
Trash as always.
The Portland Trailblazers.
Ah, good.
Dallas has moved inside.
But low key, the Portland Trailblazers are a pretty good team.
Wow, the Dallas is in the top 4.
Pick number 10.
Oh, they got bumped up.
The Houston Rockets.
I'll take it.
Pick from Phoenix due to multiple.
But the fact they got a top 10 pick is pretty impressive, though.
The 9th pick goes to
Absolutely.
the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, I was hoping the Raptors had a top 5 pick.
2 teams jumping into the top 4. That means the Sixers will lose their pick to the Thunder because it's outside.
What? The Sixers lost their pick to the Thunder?
Yeah.
NBA draft belongs to
Now the Spurs got the 4.
Brooklyn Nets.
No!
Oh, but the Spurs got a top 4 pick now.
New Orleans Pelicans. Pick the
Let's see.
Washington Wizards. Correction now. That means Philadelphia is in the top 4. So they make the jump, and suddenly Jared McCain is right.
He's going to end up with the 76ers.
inside this room. The Sixers are in the top.
He's going to end up with the 76ers, Mike.
Cooper Flag.
In the NBA draft will be made by the Utah Jazz.
Yep. Utah's off. That's number 5.
And now we have our final 4. Buckle up. It is the
I got a 25% chance at being right.
and the Mavericks. We'll find out the order of the top 4 picks.
He's got to go to the 76ers.
NBA draft.
He's got to go to the 76ers.
Yo, but if the Spurs get that top pick, bro.
I don't want to. You know what? I hope they trade out of it. Like, I don't want to see him and Wembanyama on the same team.
But the Spurs are building something. And in Dallas now, like, you get Kyrie back at some point and can get back in a groove. And Anthony Davis, if Clay can just shoot like he once did, he don't, to some degree.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
But
you also got to keep in mind that with the top 4 picks, you got now the 76ers, you got the Spurs, and you got the Hornets. And who else?
There was the Spurs, the Mavericks, the Hornets, and the Sixers.
The Sixers. Okay. All those teams were 2 seasons ago playoff teams, except the Spurs.
Yes.
So whatever you have on those teams, you're ready to play. You ready to get back to the playoffs.
Exactly.
So I'm looking at it like this. If he goes to the 76ers, I, I'll be real with you, Mike. Low key, they might get rid of Joel Embiid.
But I read that was part of the possible plan was Embiid and possibly even Paul George looking to trade them.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't trade Paul George yet. I would give him one more season. I would give him one more try because if he plays good next season, they're going to regret getting rid of him. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of injuries he had last season.
Injury P.
Yeah, podcast P.
That's what he's been thinking about. Like, leave the
You just want
podcast.
to get to the podcast. You don't care about nothing else.
Leave the podcasting to us, bro.
Yeah, nah, I agree. I mean, there's certain athletes I want to hear from. Like I love Gilbert Arenas' podcast, but he's a former athlete. You know, he's not active in the league.
Right.
I like the Kelsey brothers that they're active. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
At least one out of two are active. One of them still is playing in the league. So I like their podcast. I just don't think that you should podcast while you're playing. Like Micah Parsons. I don't think he should have a podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of a distraction.
Yeah. Because you're critiquing on games and performances while you're in the league. It's almost like it's almost like taboo. It's not against the law or it's not against the rules, but it's kind of like you know,
kind of cringe.
yeah. And your peers are looking at you different. You know what I'm saying? Because you're critiquing their play. Like that can lead to a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But in the meantime, while this is happening, is there something you wanted to cover real quick? We could talk about while the commercial break.
Trying to think here.
How about that Donovan Mitchell injury?
I was just gonna bring that up. This is if he can't go, it's over.
Yeah, I think the series is over. I'm not going to drag out my take on it, but I honestly believe that the series is over with. See, they need to bring back the spinning machine. Where's the spinning machine at?
Word. Like picture this.
That was a frozen envelope.
I had this nightmare the other day that the finals was the Pacers and the Timberwolves.
Oh my God. I don't think it's going to end up that. I think the Boston Celtics is going to get back to the finals. I truly believe that they're going to find a way to beat the Knicks in the series. What's up, R&B?
What up, though?
All right.
Bro, picture that. We're looking at a world where that could happen.
Yeah, but
the Pacers and the Timberwolves would probably be the least watched finals ever. Like,
nah, they're actually playing pretty good.
That doesn't mean people want to see it. That does not mean people want to see it.
I think anything involving Anthony Edwards, people are gonna want to see it because he's the one that's kind of being, and I don't say this in the wrong way. He's kind of being force fed to us as the new face of the league. Not that he isn't deserving or doesn't have the talent. He's being force fed in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Especially after he went up against LeBron and Luka.
Here we go. Number 4.
Ever since last year.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you watching the lottery too?
Yeah, Hornets got number 4.
Hornets. Oh shit, man! This shit getting juicy.
Oh, my pick was wrong, bro.
That's still gonna be a good pick for them, though. That's still gonna be a hell of a pick for them.
He's gonna end up with Dallas. I knew it. I knew he's gonna end up with Dallas. Because they need a new Luka. Oh, that is so whack.
This shit is so rigged.
Like I said, like you just said, they need to bring back the spinning machine.
Yeah, bring back the machine, bro. So now they got. I think you said it, Mike. They got Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flag,
and Kyrie. Forgot Kyrie.
and Kyrie.
So
Somebody got to go.
Gafford, PJ Washington, Derek Lively. That's gonna be an elite squad if they can stay healthy.
Damn, my man Ace Bailey gonna end up on the Spurs. I don't want that.
You think they gonna take Ace?
I hope not. But he's projected to go number 2.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's the Cooper Flag draft, but I think the top 5 picks, at least the top 5 projected picks, I think they're pretty solid players. Very good potential there, and all 5 of them could definitely be a franchise-changing player.
My damn Nets got number 8. They ain't nothing.
It is, yeah. Well, we know how this draft lottery goes and how it can be.
They're gonna draft a foreign player. The Nets gonna end up drafting somebody we never heard of. Tingus Pingus.
Why are you guys not New York Knicks fans? Me and Mike was kind of having this conversation the other day when I asked him, like, who do y'all root for? Because I never, really hear y'all talk about the Knicks, and y'all both New Yorkers.
Okay, well, I grew up in.
Mike kind of told me the dominance of Jordan made him.
I'll tell you my origin story. So I grew up in a household full of Knicks fans. Everybody, my uncles, everybody, right? I went to many Knicks games. However, I don't agree with James Dolan at all. And when James Dolan kicked out, who did he kick out? What's my man's name? Oakley.
Charles Oakley.
Charles Oakley. Yeah, I mean, that's when I became a full-time Nets fan because I used to cheer for both teams. I should, go to both games, Knicks and Nets games. But I was more of a Knicks supporter more than a fan, and that shit went left when he got rid of Charles Oakley and banned him out the building. I said I'm no longer a Knicks fan. So I said I'm cheering for the Nets from now on. I can't. So I put in my trade. I got myself traded to the Nets. I can't do it no more.
He said I got myself traded.
Yeah, I traded my fanship to the Nets. Like to kick out a legend is crazy. Congratulations, and I just don't agree with that. So that's why I stopped being a Knicks fan.
What do you guys think Cooper Flag's ceiling and floor? Like, what is your projection off of, if you've seen him play, if you haven't seen him play and don't really have an opinion, it's cool. But if you've seen him play, what would you, be your ceiling comparison and your floor comparison?
I think his floor is all-star because I do believe he got qualities.
Player comparison.
Oh, well, player comparison, I would say his floor is Chandler Parsons. Nah, not Chandler Parsons. I take that back. I would say probably because he got game like Chandler Parsons, but I don't think he's going to miss the All-Star. I think he's going to make an All-Star team. But his ceiling is LeBron status.
What?
Yeah. And I'm not just RB. I'm not just pulling that out of thin air. Hear me out.
I feel you are.
No. I feel like LeBron got a lot of influence on him because he's been Cooper. LeBron been watching Cooper since high school.
Plenty of people watch Jordan since middle school and didn't turn out to be him. Kobe, Bryant, all the same.
But he's got a similar game to LeBron. He's a little bit rough around the edges, but his game is, I think, the closest I've seen.
He's gonna have to develop being able to be maybe depending on how this situation play out in Dallas, maybe
Yeah,
how things go, maybe not freshly starting out, but at some
mhm.
point you taking this guy #1 overall, he's supposed to be the guy. And if you're gonna be
Right.
my guy, I gotta rely on you to close the game. I gotta be able to give you the ball and say, take us there and get us a bucket. And so far in his career at Duke, I'm a Duke guy, I like Duke. Watching him,
Yeah,
he did not close the deal on like 4 or 5 different occasions where he had a chance to, and he
that's
didn't,
true.
he didn't close the deal. So for me, I got his floor. It's funny you had brought him up and mentioned him because that's exactly who I already kind of had as his floor, like a Chandler Parsons. But his
Yeah.
ceiling, I got Andre Karolinko.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that. Was Andre Karolinko All-Star?
I think Andre Karolinko might have made an All-Star too.
Okay.
I believe he
Yeah,
made
I
at
can see
least
that.
one, maybe.
I can see that. That's fair.
This pizza.
What about you, Mike?
Unfortunately, I don't watch enough college to be able to answer that question. Every year I do try to get into college, and it's just a lot. So many teams and conferences and confusion. Like, and it's both football and basketball. And I should watch college for both. I just don't. So I cannot answer that with confidence to know what he can do. To be honest,
I got you.
but I need to really this year take some time and learn these college sports so that I can answer those questions because they are important, especially when we get to this
Absolutely.
time of year. Well, now the draft lottery is over. I wanna just take a just want to take a quick flip to the NFL, do 3 topics, and then we'll just slide with the NBA for the evening. And the first topic I got is why the fuck do we have to watch Dallas open every motherfucking year? My God, every year. Why?
You're not a fan of the schedule?
Well, they ain't released the whole thing yet, but shit. Who wants to watch Dallas every year? Like, they're oh my God, every year. It's like, yo, my wife said to me earlier, is Dak even healthy? I said, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, but my God, give them a break. Give us a break from watching them first.
Oh man.
I don't want to watch them every fucking year. They have to open the season. Just like, why are we doing this again?
You already know that.
I mean, listen,
they're America's team.
I give them credit. I give them
Exactly.
credit. At least it's not against the Giants. It is an upgrade. Usually it's the Giants. Man, America's team. Yeah, America's team, my ass. America's team that can't win a game, can't win a championship, can't keep a quarterback healthy on the field. Their old senile owner destroying the franchise just as fast as fucking a tsunami. Like, my God. I ain't got nothing else to say. Fuck this shit.
Go ahead, RB. I gotta hear your take on it.
Oh, you talking about on why I think Cowboys gonna win that opener against Philly? So look, this is why. I think we all know Philly won the championship. They're gonna return a good team next year for sure. They're still gonna be good, but they did lose a couple key pieces from their championship defense. And you know, saying I believe that a lot of times when you can kind of get out the gate, maybe slightly rocky or whatever, they might be a little vulnerable come week 1. So with the addition of crazy Pickens, you know what I'm saying, if you get the healthy Dak out there for week 1, I'm guessing he'll be ready to go by week 1. I believe the Cowboys will upset Philly to start the season week 1. And what's Philly without a little drama? You know what I'm saying? Week dropping the first game to Dallas, a little drama, and then what's Dallas without a little excitement? They start off the year upsetting Philly for the first game of the year. And then everybody have all these expectations. Oh, we beat the champions, you know what I'm saying? We coming. You already know this a bounce back year. And then they fall flat on their face like they always. Because they are Dallas Cowboys. And that's why I picked them to win week 1 against Philadelphia. I rest my case.
Yeah, I could easily see that as well, especially when it comes down to these Dallas Cowboy fans. You know, their expectations are going to be riding high as soon as they get this win against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll tell you what, I'm actually surprised that NFL went this direction because that's a divisional game. So when we look at the division and we say, oh, it's the first game of the season, that's normally a thing they wait until like mid-season to do, or at least week 4 or 5. You know, at most it would happen probably after a month of football. But I don't know. I like it. I like the fact that it's happening like this because it's going to keep people interested in football. Even though people are already interested, it's just going to make it even more exciting. And I'm going to definitely watch it. I mean, I don't have a horse in the race, but I just want to see how that new team looks in Dallas. You know, now with Pickens and, you know, of course you got CeeDee Lamb going to be balling again next year. And we're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see exactly what they set up for Dak to win. But, of course, we already know they're going to be disappointed once the season start kicking in and they go into, like, week 14, 15. They're going to realize they're not going to make the playoffs.
They might even realize that shit before then.
Or they might. Or they might make the playoffs.
They might. They might. I ain't gonna lie. I actually like the team. I like what they got.
You get popped. You know how Dallas do, man. You can never call it with them. You know what I'm saying? You can never call it. But you almost can get a degree of how the season gonna go based off week 1. So that's my prediction for week 1.
Yeah.
For Dallas.
Yeah, I think I agree with that sentiment that, you know, coming off a Super Bowl victory, losing a lot of players as you do, after a Super Bowl victory, I can see Dallas winning, getting their fans way up here, cut their legs from underneath them when it's all said and done. So we're going to see how that goes. So the next topic is Derek Carr retired. And, you know, I've never seen a fan base so excited about a retirement. Their fans were ecstatic. My boy Aaron was like, this is the greatest news I got all week. Like, damn. Damn, bro, your wife just had a kid, and that's the most exciting news? Like, damn. That's fandom right there. Like, talk about that.
Like Derek Carter.
Yo, so I think, you know, I laughed when I read it. Not because he retired or because he's hurt, but this dude really waited until after the draft to retire and screw the Saints on the way out. I'm like, damn.
I like, what? Said he had some type of legit injury, a shoulder injury or something like that.
Yeah, but from what I had read, at least, you know, from a couple sources, is that he was still set to be the starter. He was set to return at some point. So they kind of just rode with it. Like, you know, they could have drafted someone, you know, or, you know, I don't know if they did or drafted someone who, like, you know, Sanders was up there on the board. Like, I thought if we didn't grab him, they would have grabbed him, you know, but obviously they didn't. But, you know, this is not good because the Saints, let's be honest, the Saints are nowhere remotely. They're far removed from the Drew Brees days. Far removed. And, you know, Drew Brees is, you know, top 5 in most statistics at his position. If not maybe all of them. I'm not sure offhand, but yeah, they're far removed, and this team just ain't got that it factor anymore. Alvin Kamara's aging. Um, then their
He
wide
needs to
receiver.
get out of there.
Say that again.
He needs to get out of there.
Oh yeah, what you call it? Chris Olave. He's had injury issues throughout his
Can't stay
career.
healthy.
The defense has been pretty good for years, but if the offense ain't providing you nothing, what's the defense gonna do? So, to me, that's just me looking at it personally. Derek Carr. But what do you think about it, Raj?
I'm actually happy he retired, because now they can move on to the next chapter. And I think when they seen Spencer Rattler play, it was like, yo, we got to figure this quarterback thing out. So we'll see what happened, because they don't really have a quarterback. I don't even know who their quarterback is.
I thought they had the boy Shoe.
Come on, man. Did you see him throw?
Mm-hmm.
This man is horrible. But
Tyler Shoe, baby.
Yeah, I think they got to figure that out, man. I think they got to figure out what they're going to do with the quarterback. But I honestly,
out. The shoe era has begun.
The shoe era begun. Damn. Well, it's going to be terrible to watch this team. But I'm actually happy that they're moving on from Derek Carr. He's retiring. He looks happy. He looks happy from the video that he had with his kids and his wife. He looks like he's happy. So I wish the best to him and his life after football. So that's it. That's my take on it.
What about you, R&B?
I don't really have much to say on it, bro. I'll just say good riddance.
Keep, hey, as my dad says,
is happy.
Keep it simple.
Yep, that's it.
So I'm going to go last on this topic because I just am ready to, I'm at my wit's end with that thing in Pittsburgh they call an organization. So, R&B, what are your thoughts on the Steelers trading George Pickens to Dallas?
Oh, man. Dallas, of all places. I don't know, man, but from what I keep hearing in the media, everybody's saying that if Tomlin come off of you, you done. Because, saying mainly Ryan Clark, he talked about how Tomlin was always able to keep so many things on the low from some of the best players, for throughout their tenure now. And once things get to a boiling point to where he feels like he can't deal with you anymore and he trades you, you're normally done. And the success rate with that has been, high. But I will say somebody of George Pickens' caliber, I think this is one of the first time we've seen them come off of somebody so young and talented. Most of the time, the guys have been around, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 years, something like that. You know what I'm saying? George Pickens hasn't been there that long. He's still young, doesn't really have a, injury history. So, what I'm saying? We all know that during his tenure there, he hasn't really had a quarterback to get him the ball truly until last year when they got Russell Wilson, and so and yet he's still been able to produce, talented, high yardage, high receiving seasons. So, I don't know, man. I guess we just have to wait and see. Is he gonna, prove to be the talent that we all know he is with a quarterback like that in a situation like Dallas? You know what I'm saying? Can he take advantage of it? Or will he come out and struggle and look like he's done? Guess we have to wait and see.
What do you think, Raj?
George Pickens put up a post about how that organization is ran when it comes down to keeping their talented players and then getting rid of their talented players. And I don't want to misquote it, but what I will say is this. It is kind of interesting how he's going into this next season and he's traded. You know, there's no real information on why he was traded or what's going on with the organization, but it's a little bit skeptical. I mean, it's a little bit fishy. You know what I'm saying? And I think at this point, we gotta start questioning what the hell is going on with him. Like, is he a problem in the locker room? Is he a problem on the field? Like, is he hard to get along with? Because something happened, and they didn't want to pay him.
May I interject slightly real quick for a pushback?
Yeah.
What is it about the situation that fuck it. I just for lack of a better way of saying it, what about the situation that's obviously not clear as to why they traded him? We've all seen this thing with George Pickens and how it's played out since he's been there.
I just don't know like what exactly happened. Maybe I'm missing something.
There's a lot of things that have happened that have caused this rift. You know, his lack of his usage, that was a problem at a point in time. Not always getting along with the teammates or the coaching staff. You know, kind of just having that nonchalant attitude that he can do whatever he wants. And it's really hurt himself. And organizationally, not even just so much the stuff on the field, a lot of problems within the organization that have happened. You know, not being able to get competent quarterback play at a consistent level or consistently is an issue, especially if you're a wide receiver. If you don't have a competent quarterback, you're going to act up. You're not getting touches. You're not getting looks. You're not getting to really play your game and give your full self to the team. So when you look at all that and then you take into account everything Pittsburgh has done wrong, right? Because let's face it, they've done everything fucking wrong this offseason. As a fan, I'm appalled by you let Russ go. I thought, or actually first you let Fields go. Then you re-sign Rudolph. Then you trade for Metcalf. I thought you were going to bring Metcalf on because you planned on keeping Russ. Then you let him walk. You know, so all because you have faith that you will get Aaron Rodgers. But the thing about that is, you know, you don't know 100% what he's going to do. And so you rolled the dice saying, well, we're going to just bet he comes. And then if he doesn't come, now where are we at? Because now if he doesn't come, you're stuck between the rookie you drafted, not named Shedeur Sanders, and you're stuck between Mason Rudolph. So then you look at it back, we go back to the organization. The organization came out and said that they are looking towards next year's draft, not this year's draft. That's a scary, scary issue. Because now you're telling me, as a fan of the game, that you don't really care about right now, that you don't really think it's worth fighting for right now.
Next year's draft is a lot more quarterback friendly than this year.
You
got some possible dogs coming out next year, including a Manning.
Well, you're very correct. And, you know, I believe that the Steelers do. I'm trying to find the picture the other day that I sent to a friend because I don't know where it is now. But the Steelers have like 5, 6, 7 picks next season. But, you know, what I'm saying is now, you know, you're in a position to where it looks like you're trying to tank. Like, now we know that's not Tomlin's way. That's not really their culture. What the organization isn't doing anything. You're going into the season without your leading passer, rusher, or receiver. In what world does that make it look? Does it make it look like they're trying? So, from an organizational standpoint, Pickens was frustrated, so he started acting up on the field, and then this is what led to this. And because he showed out so much, I read another report that when the Steelers were trying to trade him during the draft, teams actually laughed at them. So, I'm not surprised because it's been rumored for a while. But, this is where we are. And now they have to figure out, especially if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come, because they think that's what's going to save them. But now, once again, I mean, we drafted a receiver, but you got DK there with no number 2. So you really hurt us even more. The organization has done nothing to get out of their own way. That's why George Pickens is upset.
Sure.
And it's a hot mess. I hope we go 0-17. Don't win one game. Lose them all. No, it ain't gonna happen. Somehow,
is that what it takes to for Tomlin to get fired or to have to?
I don't even want them fired. I just want them to be able to pick a competent quarterback. Listen, with the Steelers' luck, they'll still fuck around and find a way. We'll go 8. Tomlin will find a way to not lose. We will be 8-1. Damn it. Tomlin's like, nah, niggas, we ain't having a losing season. Not happening. So we're gonna flip back to the NBA here. RB, you had some topics you want to discuss. And I'm going to start with Mr. Giannis. Me and Raj talked about this a little bit before you came on last week. So I'll let you go first about the Giannis trade and what you think he should try and dictate his services too.
Well, y'all already got my answer on that. I'm wearing the hat. I'm a homer on this one. If Giannis wants to go somewhere where he can still be, quote unquote, one of the guys or the guy, contend for the next 4 to 5 years for a championship and have pieces around him, how could you not be looking at the Detroit Pistons? How could you not? It's a bias to me. It's so biased to me. I believe people just hate Detroit and hate the Pistons or whatever, and they never bring us up and talk about us. Everybody just want to talk about the Spurs or Houston. And I'm not saying that those are not valuable options because I feel like they both, especially Houston, have young, ready pieces that could, definitely be like a perfect puzzle where he fits right in the middle to complete it. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's the same thing in Detroit. And I don't think Houston has a Cade Cunningham. And with San Antonio, of course, Wemby is definitely generationally, known as what we expect to be a generationally great player. But let's think about something. 2 years in now, we still haven't seen him play a full season. First, he had the injury last year, and then now this year we had the blood clot injury. I'm just saying, it may have been a blood clot, but that's still 2 years that, what I'm saying,
you ain't been on the
injury.
Right.
Yeah, that you ain't been on the floor. So, what I'm saying, come on now, what I'm saying? So we gotta be fair here. There's no way that somebody shouldn't be looking to team up with Cade in Detroit with this young core that we got ready to roll and ready to rock. So I think he should want out of Milwaukee. It's time. I grant him as an NBA fan, I grant Giannis the ability to be able to go out and demand or request a trade. And it should be dictated in the favor of where he wants to go because of the fact that he's been in Milwaukee for 12 years. He delivered them a championship. and he deserves to go and try to contend for titles. It's time for them to. I feel like it's time for this relationship to end and for parties to part ways and move on, and they can get some good value for him as well. So that it shouldn't hurt them going in the rebuild going forward. They should be able to get great value for a player like Linus at W results.
What do you got, Raj, for that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see him going to a contender, but I feel like at this point in his career, he's not going to be able to find a team that's going to contend, except like RB said, either the Pistons or you get him on a team that's already made, and they just need that one player. I know a lot of people mentioned the Rockets, because they're looking for a star to get him over the hump. So that might be a possibility. But personally, I mean, maybe it's wrong to feel this way, but I'd rather him stay in Milwaukee. I'd rather him stay in Milwaukee. And I had a long time to think about it. I had a week to think about it since the last time we talked about it. And I feel like if he stays in Milwaukee, he will be basically the greatest player to ever play in Milwaukee history. You know what I'm saying? Because yes, he brought him a title already. He's been a multiple-time All-Star. He's been there for 12 plus years. But you gotta think about it. Number one, he's a foreign athlete. He's not from the U.S., so he doesn't really have a tie to any type of city or state. And Milwaukee drafted him. Like, that's something special because he wasn't a lottery pick. Well, he was a lottery pick, but I'm saying he wasn't like a well-known lottery pick. And at this point in his career, yes, he wants to win a championship. He wants to be great. But why not stay in Milwaukee and win? Find a way to win there instead of doing team hopping like LeBron and KD. I would love to see him stay. That's my take on it.
But if he had to be traded, where would you say? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying if he did have to, if that weren't an option on the table, let's just say.
I would love to see him go to a West Coast team. I probably would say, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but imagine him and Kawhi Leonard together.
On the Clippers.
They will lock that whole entire West down. I'm not saying they'll win immediately, but you give them a year to figure it out, and they'll win if Giannis and Kawhi are healthy. All they're missing is a point guard.
That's very fair.
It's a fair take. Yeah,
because I feel like if they had Giannis, they would have won. They would have beat. Who did they beat? I mean, who did they lose against?
So the Clippers.
Yeah, Denver. The Clippers.
Denver.
They would have beat Denver in a game 7 situation with Giannis and Kawhi being healthy. I'm not saying that he's the answer to everything, but damn it, he can give you a bucket. He can play better than Harden right now. So
the defense that he'd be able to play, not being physical, to go ahead. Just afraid to be physical and go ahead over yo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I want to see him in the West, man. I really want to see him in the West. Because I know he can do some damage.
I'd rather him stay in the East. Even if it ain't Detroit, I'd rather him stay in the East. Maybe somewhere like in Indiana, could be a good situation. I want him to stay in the East, man. The West is already stockpiled and loaded. We need competitiveness in the East.
Yeah.
Instead of these play-in teams being 2-3 games under 500 or just at 500, then you look at the play-in game in the West and these motherfuckers 10 and 11 games over 500.
And when you look at the landscape of the league, last week I said I could see the Lakers making a play for him.
Giannis?
Yeah, trying to pull something out their ass. Because for me, my issue isn't that I don't like Detroit. It's that for whatever reason, it's hard. And I mean, we're talking about trading here, so it's different. But it's very hard to get players to that market, right? And typically, when players go there and their contracts end, they don't resign, they move on. Or, in the case of when the last time the Pistons were real good, mid 2000s, 04, 05, all those players after those two finals trips had disbanded, kind of went on, did whatever they need to do, retire or what have you. So it's just hard to keep people and get people to the market there. Um, that's the only fallback I see with that. As for the Spurs, the only thing is Giannis and Wemby are both real big, so I don't know if the dynamic would work. Like, yeah, Giannis is one of the best players on the downhill, but when you don't have those situations, now what do you do with 2 7-footers? Like, you know what I mean?
One that can't shoot and one that's not ever going to be a great 3-point shooter, but
Right. Like
decent enough.
Wemby can shoot, but you ain't gonna see him knocking threes down like Curry. So, so now when I look at the landscape of where he should go, like I said, I don't think I see the Lakers making a play, but I don't think he should go there because it puts immediate pressure on them to succeed, to win everything, right? The Clippers, I don't see that as a bad take either. But when you look at the landscape, he's gonna want somewhere where he can contend and win. And outside of really someone to get outside of Houston, the Clippers, maybe Orlando and Detroit. Those are the four teams I can see that can take him with what they have as a core, add him and make an impact if they don't have to give up too much, right? But to me, my opinion is he's gonna want to go to a team that's already set to win.
Right.
That's just me. Which is why I bring up the Lakers because they make shit happen out of nothing. But
don't take Golden State out of the equation either, because we know how they've been known to make moves and get in there and see players.
Yeah,
that's very true.
So we can, that's another team in there. So I don't know. I know if it does come across the screen, it will be a huge trade. Depending especially on where he goes. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things that have to go right, in order for that to happen. But I see personally he'll want to go to a larger team. Like I read a report that said Knicks and Lakers. Those are two I remember reading. That Knicks and the Lakers.
He said you want to go to a big market.
So that's the only thing. All those teams I named don't have a big market. And that's the thing. He would want a big market and want to win. But then he goes to the Lakers. Now here we go. We have to start. You start looking at different things. You start looking at different allegiances and how this will affect legacy because I can't hold Kevin Durant to that standard and not hold Giannis to the same one.
Exactly.
You wanted to be traded, homie, so you kind of went there. I give KD had a free choice, so he'll get a little more flack in the long run.
And KD didn't spend 12 years nor deliver a championship to OKC.
That part.
Yeah, that's true.
So now that we got this game on, you have mentioned if the Celtics lose this series, Raj, do you think it's time to disband this team?
Nah. I don't have them losing this series. I think they're gonna win this series. But hypothetically, if they lose, I think they run it back at least one more year. I think they figure out what to do with Porzingis, if either trade him or you know, they got to move on from him because he's like really no impact right now with the team, especially him being in and out the lineup with his sickness or illness, whatever he's dealing with. I don't know exactly what it is because they won't disclose it.
Right.
I think with that being said, they figured the power forward situation out. I think Drew Holiday probably will stay another year, and they probably work on getting maybe somebody that can be a like legit center. You know what I'm saying? I think they run it back. I don't think it's time to blow it up. I think they need to just focus on what they got. Because if they blow it up, they might blow it up too soon and they will regret it. Because this might be the only window that they can actually make it back to the championship. Because once you start blowing up teams, you might not ever even make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals.
What do you think, R&B?
I think it's time to retool. In other words, it's time to break it up. If they lose this series, especially if they lose this series 4-1, like a convincing gentleman sweep or some shit like that,
Right.
I think it'll be time to break it up. And when I say break it up, doesn't necessarily mean that you just completely everything for sale. Even if they only trade one piece, that's still breaking it up because it's not the same core that won the championship. So I got my eye on. I believe that they will try to move Porzingis, as you said, but I think Drew Holiday might be the one first that they'll look to try to move, possibly. Reason why I say that is Porzingis is always going to make it tough to trade somebody like him because they know what they can be when he's at his best and he's healthy. They're a championship contending team. Hell, they're a championship contending team, without him being there completely. So you know what you are when he's there and healthy and he's himself. Look how he dominated in the finals last year. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it hard when you got a game changer like that. When he can be a game changer to that level like that, it makes it hard to want to move on from a player like that so easily. So I'm not sure, but I do believe it's going to be changes if they lose this series. It's going to be some changes in Boston with the roster. I've even heard little rumblings and whispers about Joe Mazzulla still not really, them feeling like he's proven, even though they won the championship last year. So we never know. And you never know. Is Al Horford going to stick around another year? Will he go ahead and retire now that he's got his one? Tried at the repeat and maybe wasn't successful at it. You know what I'm saying? It could be some major changes there for sure.
Al Horford said he wants to stay a Celtic if they'll have him. I don't know if it's time to. Wow. Okay, that was a lucky roll. I wouldn't say I kind of agree with both of your takes. Mine's kind of in the middle. I don't think it's time to fully disband, but it's time to change some of those surrounding elements.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen a team win a championship and be under so much scrutiny.
Yeah.
And that's what we have here. When it comes to Boston, they've won and they're still scrutinized. Like they're not good enough. So I do agree that some of the pieces have to be changed. Porzingis. Oh boy. But
can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
I can't stand Jason Tatum's 3-point shooting, man. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, bro.
Like he just pulls
some
up
of the most horrible shots.
Yeah. Like I don't know why the coach will even allow. Like he think he's Steph Curry out there.
Wow.
They're splashing threes on him though. I ain't gonna hold you, but it's just annoying.
But they're playing D. It's not like they're not playing D.
Yeah, but that's not a. I mean, we know that's not a winning formula. Like you just can't be hoisting up threes. I know they making them now, but that's also the reason why they lost the first two games.
Problem
They
is
was
when they start missing them, they're going to keep shooting them.
yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like that's not a. They're not setting up no plays. They're just going up and down the court shooting threes, and it's ridiculous. It's like, yo,
Nope, don't do it
we
again.
gotta look at this team for what it is. These guys are
Wow.
just chuckles. Look at this. He's
That
just
has something
chucking
to do.
threes. He's just
That
chucking
has something to do
threes.
with Joe Mazzulla.
Wow.
You know what I would do? I would, if I was a Knicks coach, I would send doubles after the shooter and dare them to shoot it.
Well, you know Tatum, if you dare him, he's shooting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll just have them all like on a 2-3 zone. Lock their ass up and make them shoot. Because as soon as they start missing, oh, and then the celebration. Look at the celebration. Ain't that Kawhi celebration?
With the laugh.
My bad, fellas. I'm sorry. I just had to say that because this dude chucked up like 7 threes in the first quarter.
So, R&B, I want you to take the lead on the ratings and the ticket sales you were talking about earlier.
So,
And then how? Go ahead.
no, go. I seen a report the other day where they were saying Joe Dumars had made a statement where he said that this style of basketball is not gonna last. Like all of the small ball and just the everything that people looking at now and complaining about. It's been noted that ticket sales have been down across the league for games, and viewership is down. Ratings are not what they once were, and a lot of people think that it's because of the quality of the game that we're getting. People are a little bit tired of the whole hoisting of the threes. People think it's bad basketball. Me and Mike had this conversation on the Nerd Camp report when we did it 2 days ago, and it's just what I'm saying, it's bad basketball, but it's good basketball. Like I think it was game 2 with the Knicks in Boston. That was a
Mm-hmm.
good game
Yep.
because of the excitement of the finish. But if you're a true basketball fan, somebody who's been watching for a long time, like we all have now,
Mm-hmm.
you can see where it's like it's still bad basketball being played in the midst of this, good game. It in all honesty, it really shouldn't have been a good game. It should have been an ass whooping. It should have been a blowout. But because Boston didn't adjust and continue to hoist all these threes that they were missing, they end up losing the game. How do you miss that many threes and still only lose by what? 3
3
points?
3
points.
points. Yeah. Yeah.
That's bad
Exactly.
basketball being played.
Yeah. I
That's
agree.
bad basketball being played. Get on 2K and shoot 65 3-pointers and miss. How many did they miss?
45.
45 of
45.
them?
Yeah.
Get on 2K and shoot 65 threes and miss 45 of them and see what the final score be.
You
If you
losing by
playing
at
against
least
somebody
20, 25.
if you playing against somebody that's like that. You know what I'm saying? I know that's
Yeah.
a game, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like so I just kind of wanted to know know you guys' take on, how do y'all feel about this? Do you feel like this whole small ball era shit, the hoisting of the threes, the mistake basketball, as we say, you know what I'm saying? And really no method to the madness, just hoisting it up and hoping that it drops. All of this different shit, this style of basketball. Do you think it's gonna last? Like, what do y'all think about it?
Well, there's quite a few issues I have. And excuse me. And it stems from, like you said, we all had the luxury of enjoying 90s basketball. And even
And
early
2000s.
say that again.
And 2000s.
And I was gonna just say even 2000s to mid 2000s, you know, even up to like 20, like 10, 12.
Yeah, I'll
I
say like 10, 12.
Mm-hmm.
that's to me was like good. And then why are we doing that? That's just crazy. I would say that, that was good basketball. And then the league started to change. And part of it, and I think I explained this with, I don't know if it was one of you guys or both of you on the screen, about how Jordan had said that the players get paid now before they do anything. That's problem number one, because now you haven't played 1 minute on the floor, but you're getting paid millions of dollars just for being off of potential. Potential. You're not getting paid because you've played and had the best rookie season, or have had, or broke a record of some sort, a rookie record or an all-time record maybe. You never know with the way that the offenses are shaped these days. So that's the first thing, is that the laziness or getting paid has created a level of laziness amongst players. Second thing is, and I don't knock anyone for how they get their money, but endorsement deals do the same thing. Because now, if you're getting paid to do things other than basketball, you could care a lot less about basketball.
Right.
You could care a lot less. And whoa, that was ugly. You can care a lot less than just the heart. Like, I believe 80%, let me down it, 70% of these players love the game. I do believe that 70% of them love the game. They just don't love to play on a nightly basis. They don't love to do the extra work, the extra training, the extra practice, and they don't have that it factor.
I think that's a high number, Mike.
What Tatum just did was lazy. Very lazy. Like what, and just the coaching is lazy too. They're not setting up plays, Right. They're not setting up plays. They're not trying to make it, copacetic. So, I mean, it's just really, really sad as someone who watched Jordan, someone who watched all of Kobe's career, like someone who was just so hungry all the time, like God rest his soul, but hell, I would say I'd make him commissioner in a heartbeat.
And you know what? I want to say something a quick interjection to something that never really gets brought up when we think about Kobe.
What's that?
He came from a silver spoon.
Yeah.
His I'm saying, they weren't like, big money rich, but he came from a lot better than most of us, I'm saying, where he
right.
A silver spoon, suburb type raised kid.
Yep. His dad played in the league and he played overseas.
Yeah. And so for me, it's just sickening, because, I see these players and, they have the potential, and they don't go hard every game. Before you came on, R&B, we were talking about the draft lottery and how I feel like the worst team should get the first pick. But then Raj made a good point that it would make it easier for tanking, which I understand, but there's got to be a way to make it more competitive. Like Adam Silver is trying to implement all this shit that don't matter. Like I was against the play-in. Like it turned out to be some of the most competitive basketball we get. But it's not, to me, it's not necessary. The cup is not necessary. The courts for the cup are definitely not necessary. Bright ass freaking courts hurt my eyeballs. Just a lot of the things he's implementing. Like, how about we worry about the things you're talking about? Worry about getting these teams somehow to play better defense and to make the games entertaining. They don't try. It's just frustrating and sickening. It's all disgusting.
I got a solution, guys. And
I'm done with my take, so it's all you, Raj.
Real quick, and I'm not going to be long. But I think this style of basketball won't last long because, of course, people are going to know that, like, there's other ways that you can make money off the league. And I think right now the best solution is through relegation, through
Through
teams.
what?
Now I know you guys, huh?
Wait, what's the best solution? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Relegation on the worst teams in the NBA.
And
Now I know that's a far fetched idea, but if I'm the
well,
commissioner,
wait,
I'm
wait, wait. I'm
considering it.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't understand what you mean when you say that, though.
So basically, if you watch like professional soccer, right? Like they
Mhm.
call it football in England. The bottom teams get sent down to like a G League.
Okay.
Now, I know that sounds far fetched. I know it probably will never happen. But if I'm the commissioner, that's the way I'm running it. Because in order for you to stay competitive, you have to be competitive to stay in. And I believe if they took the bottom two in each one in each conference, East and West, and sent them down to the G League, and then send the best of the G League team up, you'll watch a lot of basketball players change their mindset on how they play. Because they'll
Absolutely.
refuse to tank and they'll refuse to be the bottom team because their check could be cut in half or even more. So I know it's like far fetched and it's never going to happen, but I think that's the best way to approach it because there's a lot of teams out there that are just not even trying. And basketball is one of those type of sports where you don't have to try. I mean, you don't have to play hard. You could just be on the court just running around. Football, you have to play hard or you're going to get hurt. Baseball, kind of like, it's in between because, you can kind of hide behind it. You can hide behind the numbers and the team. But basketball is one of those sports where it's like you have to. I mean, you don't have to play hard at all. So putting a team in a position where, let's say you get like the Charlotte Hornets that could be sent down to the G League, that would change a lot of people's mindset. People like LaMelo Ball would not be playing the way he's playing.
Right. Well,
So
the only setback I have with that, or reservation I have, and it's not a bad idea, is you do have teams that have bad records that play hard and just can't win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there
yeah,
are teams that go in and they try to win and they just can't win. So, I mean, it's not bad, but you can kind of tell when a team isn't trying, but it's one of those things where it's like, what do
like
we, how do we,
Look at the Wizards, right? How many times we done seen the Wizards go into the lottery in the past, let's say 20 years?
yeah, they might as well live in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how many times we gonna keep witnessing this stuff?
Yeah, you got a point.
There's certain teams that they're dogging it, and
Absolutely.
there's teams
Just
that you
putting
gotta start
asses in
questioning.
seats.
Huh?
I say just putting asses in seats, cutting the
Yeah,
check.
like if you look at a team like the Charlotte Hornets, right? The
Yeah.
Charlotte Hornets never tried, bro. They wasted Kemba Walker's career. And I'm not saying he was a excellent player, but he was somebody you could build a franchise around.
He had an opportunity. I would say this personally, my opinion.
He took too long to leave.
We'll leave there, yes, but I don't think he
Yeah,
ever had an opportunity to reach his full potential because he when he went to the Celtics, he showed he had more of a ceiling, right? Like he didn't get to the ceiling. He kind of
Yeah, but
stayed at,
he was done by the time he went to Boston. His back
yeah, he
was
was cooked.
his knees. He was cooked.
But needless to say, yeah, I mean, but they're one of those. They're the Wizards, the Hornets, the
Yeah,
Pelicans. Even they're just same teams in that turmoil.
same
But
team.
once again, kind of to the point I made to R&B about Detroit, those are all small market teams. It's so hard to get people to those locations, and then when players go there, they leave. They don't want to be there. They go and they try and
I'm
go.
not saying that it's easy, but it's possible. It's possible to run a successful mid-market team.
Spurs did it
These
for
people
years.
just they just don't. Yeah, I'm about to say these motherfuckers just don't. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these people just be in these jobs. They really don't be knowing what they're doing. Let's be honest. A lot of these GMs can suck. Some coaches suck. President of basketball operations can suck like that. Let's just keep it 100. Tell it like it really is. Like that's how it be. And then you have some of the ownership that suck, or some of the ownership that don't care about or don't prioritize winning. They prioritize keep me relevant enough to sell tickets and cut a check.
Right. Pretty much.
Guys, I gotta run out real quick. I'm gonna jump on a call as soon as I get back.
All right.
I'll be on the pod as soon as I get back, man.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
So we might be done, but we might be done by then.
Yeah, because I try to keep it closer to an hour and a half while we're in the mist. Well, I'm glad that I like to make those clips. I gotta share a few more of them this week. Because if it goes over 2 hours, it won't let me do it. It won't make them. So I wanted to get into a little NBA talk of just where we're at with these series. So we kind of talked about this series here already. So let's talk about the Warriors and the Timberwolves. The other night, I watched the game. I think they played tonight, right?
Yeah, they played tonight.
And it was a weird game because the first half, the Warriors didn't make any threes. They kind of just survived the first half, but the second half, the Timberwolves really took advantage and were able to pull away ultimately and win the game. But without Steph Curry, I think this is a done deal, especially if they lose tonight. I think they're down 2-1, Golden State. So if they lose tonight, this is it. I can't say that I'm surprised by Minnesota because they did go to the Western Conference Finals last year. But I mean, with this series, Lady Luck was on their side. I mean, they went and manhandled the Lakers. There's no doubt about that. But, not having Curry is a big deal. And if they can't win tonight, they might as well just pack it up.
Jimmy got to come through. Jimmy got to get one. He got to get at least one without Steph. And tonight is the night that he got to do it. He got to show up tonight. Draymond got to, and like I said before, it has to be a team effort. They all got to do their thing, but most importantly, Jimmy got to get one without Steph, and it got to be tonight. Or the series is over, unfortunately. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we look at Cleveland. Cleveland and the Pacers. I think it's over without Donovan Mitchell.
It's over.
There's no.
It's over. It was over with him.
Like
that's what I hate to say it.
And it's sad because Cleveland played such a good season, but for some reason the Pacers have just been able to come in here and just manhandle whoever's in front of them. Like even like whoever wins this series, man, they better go into that series like we need a game plan because these dudes just playing. They're just outworking everyone. And like you said, they score points in bunches. So like they'll score like it'd be like a 14-3 run and just smack you in the face. Like, whoa, where'd this come from? And that dude, how you say his name? Naismith?
Lee Smith.
Man, that man.
Aaron Lee Smith.
when he shoots that and it goes in, it's so pretty. He just the way he don't even look like he shoots straight. He be all bent and just pushes it up there and it floats right in. I'm just like, man, what are we gonna do here? So now I'm gonna forward you the same question you forwarded me about the Celtics. Should
I know
Cleveland
where you going.
should Cleveland disband this team?
No, the reason why I say no, this is Kenny Atkinson's first year there as the head coach. This team is younger than Boston. Even though you know what I'm saying, Donovan Mitchell been around for a while. You know, we know they got some counter pieces there that been around the league or whatever. This team is still young. The reason why I feel the way I do about Boston is we all have to remember they've been a contender for a while now.
Yeah.
They were just in the finals 2 years ago when they lost to Golden State, right? They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals damn near every year since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have arrived. You know what I'm saying? This is a team that's been, destined to, bring home a title for a good 7 to 8 years now. And they've only delivered one title thus far, and which just so happened to be last year. So that's why I feel the way I do about Boston. As
Fair
far
enough.
as Cleveland hasn't, they haven't gelled all the way together and rocked together that long yet. So I think you got to see where it goes, and just see how everything can play out once it's all molded together the right way, and they might have to make a move on a piece or two in order to improve the bench and maybe get some more consistent defense and so on and so forth. But I like what Cleveland got going forward. They're young. I definitely think you bring everybody back and run it back again.
I
It is
think
not time to dismantle.
I'm a little torn because I don't think you're wrong. Um, but I don't feel like that's fully right either. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were them, here's what I think they need. I think with those core four guys, you're okay. But like you said, you need to have some power off that bench. You need to, you need some shooting. You need some if they could get like a Derek White type player for the bench, a Buddy Hield type player for the bench. I think they also need another dominant big for the bench. You have Allen and Mobley in the starting lineup. So if you can get two good shooters at a low price and a decent big, I mean, don't got to be a top tier big. You can go out there if JaVale McGee wants to play and he can still go. Just for rebounds and defense, go for it. I mean, it doesn't have to be someone of quality like who's going to give you 20 and 10 a night. You just need a big body who can get up and down the floor, who can block shots and rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they give you 10 points, 15 points, cool. I've heard Vucevic has been on the block for us. Why not? He's not the player he once was. So, things like that.
I don't know if I would say Vooch though. Vooch wouldn't be the answer to the problem, in my
No,
opinion,
I was just
because
using
he's
him.
older, slower.
I was just using him as an example because he'd be a bench player. He wouldn't be a starter. So
I think, and with having Mobley and Allen both in the starting lineup, if you're talking about a big off the bench, it needs to be somebody that's going to be, like an energizer big, kind of like
Valanciunas, maybe.
no, kind of like what old boy is for the Knicks, and what's his
Mitchell
name, the one who
Robinson.
can't make, Mitchell Robinson. Somebody that can come in and spell, like you say, defense and boards. Vucevic, that's not his game. His game is facing up and shooting and scoring.
Fair enough. But yeah, like if they get those pieces, I think that I think they can run it back. because but then but then next season if this happens again, unfortunately we got to have this conversation again. And I hope they can put pieces together and win, but that's something we just got to wait and see for, I guess.
Right.
So the last thing I want to discuss is the best series of the second round, Denver and OKC. I think they're tied at 2 now, 2 games apiece. I mean, they've this series has been pretty intense. I'm surprised Denver's not more tired after a 7-game series against the Clippers, which was real good. And now OKC's in here doing what they do. But man, they're really, both teams are really playing. But I'm still taking OKC in 7 games. I believe they get over the hump. And I remember last season I picked them as my dark horse to go to the Western Conference Finals, and they almost got there. But I do believe that this year I don't know if they'll win it all. They definitely have the potential to. But I do have them still in 7 games. But it's been quite a series to watch. Everyone's playing hard. See, it's series like that. That's what we need the NBA to be. You know what I'm saying? Series like that. Even if there's portions, like you said, where there's bad basketball played, which I haven't seen much. I've seen a lot more in this game versus that game, this series versus that series. But they just need good competitive basketball, and I would be ecstatic. But I do have OKC in 7 games for that series.
Right. I had picked OKC in 7 myself, but and right now I think I stick with that pick. It's been a very competitive series. What?
Oh, Siri thought I was talking to her on the computer. So it said I said I can't believe I couldn't find anything on that. So I'm like, all right, I wasn't talking to you, Siri, but okay.
Like on what, Siri? On what?
Yeah, like the worst is when I say I try and talk to Siri, it'll go off on my phone, my old phone, my iPad, my computer, and my watch. So it's just like like, whoa. Wasn't talking to you. So you were saying it cut out. You were saying you had picked them in 7 games and then you cut out.
Yeah, I would say it's been a very competitive series, man. As far as I still will stick with my pick of OKC in 7. It is everything that we want to see in basketball. Some would kind of beg to differ because they say, oh, well, it's not enough scoring. They shooting, the percentages. They playing defense. They playing harder. And I think in that last game, both teams were a little bit tight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Chet had mentioned it that that's the closest thing you're gonna get to a back-to-back in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Remember they played what late then early, or was it early then late or something like that? Then they had the travel days or something. So
yeah,
they. I feel like it's still been some good basketball being played. Shea coming through down the stretch the way you want him to, like he did last night. He missed some shots, you know what I'm saying, but he made the ones that he needed to make for sure. I was surprised to see Joker struggle the way he did, but you know what I'm saying. That defense, that OKC defense showed up. Those young and scrappy boys, they showed up.
Absolutely. They showed up and showed out. Well, you know how it go. We're gonna see how that series pans out. So that's all I got for this week. I want to thank everyone for their support. Is there anything else you wanted to cover, R&B, before we sign off? Was there anything else you wanted to cover before we sign off, bro?
Can you hear me? Here I come. I'm coming back in now. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, I'm coming up. I had to pull the dinner off the oven real quick. My son in the shower.
Oh, you
But
good? You good?
one last thing I did want to cover. Let's keep our fingers crossed that this shit is going to go down, people. This can be monumental. This can be legendary. This can be an absolute legendary classic. If we get Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez in September, the boxing gods have delivered. I have been waiting for this fight. Mike. And if Dana White can get this done, you know what I'm saying? This is gonna be big. I'm hearing rumors of September. I seen the September 12th, then I might have seen the date that I think was September 25th. Don't quote me. But I know I seen the September 12th. I'm hearing Dana White, since was supposed to be behind this and trying to make this the mega fight. And you know what I'm saying? They saying Canelo could get upwards of like 100 million. So let's hope that let's hope we get this fight, baby. This is a mega fight.
Listen,
This is a mega fight.
Boxing has become a dying breed.
It's back. I disagree. It's back. It died for sure, but it's definitely been resurrected over the past 7 to 8.
It's not where it was, but it's not as bad as it was either. I'll say that. That's why I think part of me did appreciate Floyd Mayweather. Wasn't a fan of Floyd Mayweather, but I appreciated what he brought to the sport. Because he got to a point where we were watching him to watch him lose, and then we got mad he wouldn't lose. And then he, you know what I'm saying? So,
Facts.
So and then so I think now we're starting to get back to where people can care and concur. So if that fight happens, it's one I'm gonna have to order. That's for sure.
Facts.
Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. It's Nerd Sports for this week. We'll be back next Monday at 7 p.m. with another show. We'll probably do a Nerd Camp report Wednesday night, maybe tomorrow night. See how the day goes. But look out for those Nerd Camp reports. Keep looking out for the show. Thank you all for your support, and we'll see you next week.
Peace. Blessings.
Purpose, positivity.